Hi, I'm Ron Sombrano. I am an attentive listener slash life coach, and you might be wondering why I sent you this link. So, this link right now, I'm going to tell you what I do. I've been doing this for like over 20 years on a small scale, and I had a small list of clients. But what I do is I listen to people, all right? You might be saying, Ron, I don't get it. You listen to people, man. What's this all about? So what I do is I listen to people that need to vent, that need to get things off of their chest, that needs to get something off of their mind. Because in this day and age, you see, I'm 60 something years old, believe it or not. And back in the day, we didn't have social media. We contacted friends and we got together, had lunch or a beer or whatever, and we talked about life. It's like, hey, Junior, how are you doing? How's your wife doing? Or, blah, blah, blah. How's your niece doing? She just had a baby. But, you're talking about things. Oh, I heard, Uncle Sammy's got cancer. Or Auntie Betty, she's got leukemia, on the sad note. But you're, you're in company with another human being. And that's what God made us to be, is to be in fellowship with each other, to be with each other. I get it. Sometimes you can't be around people because they're like obnoxious, they're gaslighters, or maybe you're the gaslighter. You don't know. We're only human, right? But nowadays, it's really hard to connect with fellow human beings, especially with social media, all the negatives. There's so much negatives and so much fake artificial intelligence, AI that's being generated, and the news is chaotic, right? So back in the day, it was really nice. You didn't have a cell phone, a smartphone. You had to go to a payphone or your landline phone on the wall and call up your friends. Hey, you want to get together? And you look forward to that because your friends were like you. You were like-minded. Hopefully, you had friends, or if you didn't have friends, you'd make friends. That's the only way you could socialize, is to make friends, and that's cool. And there's people in families that are like friendly with each other, brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, mom, dads, whatever, cousins. They all get together. But nowadays, families are dysfunctional. Not that it wasn't before, but it is now. Families are smaller, families are separated, families are against each other because of social media. That's one cause. Bad mouthing each other, gassing people up, gaslighting people up, not good. All right. So you might be asking, so, okay, Ron, so tell me all about what you do. Okay. So, like I said, an attentive listener, I listen to people. And basically, that's it. That's all I do. And it works for people. And now I'm not a therapist. I got to say that. I'm not a licensed like a cognitive behavioral therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I didn't go to medical school. So I'm not vetted to be in that profession, okay? Um, I took courses online, attentive listening services, uh, life coaching, and it was all Christian based online, but I don't I don't promote anything like religion. All right, I don't do that. If you want to call and you want to talk about Christ or whatever beliefs you have, that's good. If that's going to heal you or make you have more clarity in your life. Because here's the thing. Let me get back to what I do: listening. Here's the thing. Myself. All right, myself. As I get older, I kind of pick and choose who I talk to because if I talk to somebody, let's say, hey man, I'm getting older, I feel a certain way, and I just need to vent because I'm getting older, and I don't have any friends around, and I find myself like talking to other people, like I meet, and I start spilling the beans to them, and like, hey man, this is on my mind, and they look at me, it's like, hey man, I don't want to know what's on your mind. And it's nothing bad or perverted or anything. It's just me being older. It's like, oh, man, I find myself like doing blah, blah, blah. They look at me like, yeah, we don't want to listen to you. So I got to call my friends who are like my age and we can get along. But I even had in my lifetime, had to go to therapy for different reasons. Like, I'm from Lahaina. If you heard about Lahaina, 2023, August 8, we lost our town to a fire, and that got me traumatized. So I had to see a vetted therapist and all that kind of stuff. And I also had to see my medical doctor to get clearance to get certain kinds of medications for a certain time. And I'm not doing that anymore. But what I'm trying to get at is, okay, I'm not a therapist, so I don't collect insurance and I don't give advice. So as a listener, I listen to you. You hire me, I'm affordable, I don't take insurance, but you hire me, and people love it. I got I mean, I'm growing my list of people, and I just do adults, females, males, what you identify yourself as. I'm not prejudiced. I feel everybody should be loved. Everybody should be cared for. Everybody should be listened to. All right. I don't get into politics. I don't. So as a listener slash life coach, I just listen to you. But if you want to talk politics, here's the thing. If you want to talk politics, I'll listen. I'll ask you questions, but I won't debate anything. I won't give you advice on your life or whatever. Basically, I listen to people that just need to vent. And this video is about women. That's right, the females out there. In fact, if I had to get a scale of who I talk to, most of the women, well, most of the people I talk to are women, right? Females, right? And they tell me what's on their minds. Okay, now I'm going to get kind of deep with you because I gave you this link and you are a female, or maybe you're a male and you want to listen or want to find out like what women talk to me about. Okay, so by the way, I'm in my house. This is how I do my sessions. And by the way, I do Zoom, I do FaceTime, I do phone calls. I don't meet anybody in person because I found that using technology is much better. I'm in a private room. So in our this is where I live. Excuse me, this is where I live, but it's private. And if I was to do a session with you, I'd have headphones on so nobody would hear what we're talking about. So it's all private, it's all confidential. Believe me, I don't share nothing on social media on what you talk about. But what the women talk about, and I know I'm rambling, but hear me out. Women talk about so many things, and I'll tell you from. And again, I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a therapist of any kind, but I listen. All right, I listen, and that's basically 99.9% of the time with the females. I just listen. Women talk to me about their divorce that they're going through, and they just ramble on and they just need somebody to vent to. They talk about their divorce, why they're getting divorced, or they ask me, should I get a divorce? And I can't give advice. I tell them, listen, I can't give you advice, but you can vent to me, and maybe I can ask you questions. You can ask me what my opinion would be, and that's it. But I always have people sign a waiver that I cannot give advice, and you know that. So women talk about pending divorces. They want to get divorces. They talk about their sex drive. That's right. And man, guys, if the guys watching this, man, you should be in my position because it's really awesome when it comes to women and their intimacy. Every woman I talk to has different, I wouldn't say criterias, but it's really different. And what I've learned about women is a lot of them is emotional. It's emotional. From they dated the finest looking GQ dude, and they got married and the guy was abusive. I was like, okay, hold on there. I can't give you any kind of advice. I'm not a therapist. They go, oh man, just hear me out. Okay, just listen. So, they found like the GQ dude, right? The finest dude, and everything was good, and then things fall apart, and then they got into a depression. But I can't help them with depression. Remember that. I can't help them with their mental state. I just listen. So they tell me all kinds of stuff. They got depressed, and they started to do alcohol and hang out with other friends. And they were younger, and they started going out to the clubs and blah, blah, blah. And their lives just got messed up because they repeated that same finding the right dude, the good looking dude, blah, blah, blah. And just women have all these different, I don't want to say issue, but topics. Because we say issues, it's kind of like really like, it's like a bad term to say, hey, Ron's got issues. You know what I mean? I'll say, hey, Jimmy's got issues. Yeah, Jimmy's got a roadblock. Amy's got a roadblock. How's that? So people's got roadblocks. And that's why you need to vent to get that roadblock out of the road, unclog the drain. That's why I'm here venting. So this is about for the females out there. You hire me, you can talk about anything. I'm not a therapist. Everything will be confidential. A lot of women talk about all these different things. Women in their 60s, 70s, they talk about what are they going to do? Their bodies are all getting stiff, and they go, Ron, what do you think? And I go, well, this is what I think. And I ask them questions. Now I'm in the life coaching mode, right? I'm in the life coaching mode. When they ask, what do you think? I'm getting older. My doctor says, I'm arthritis. I got arthritic. What should I do? And I go, well, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a physical therapist, but I can ask you some questions. Do you exercise? And one woman told me, she goes, no, I don't. She was like 75 years old. I go, well, you gotta maybe go walking. Go walking, you and your husband. And she said, he's lazy. He just sits on the couch all day. He says he's an old guy. He paid his dues. Screw him. And I'm like, oh, Auntie, I always call the older people, with respect. I'll go, Auntie, well, try and move around. Go join a senior center workout thing. It's good for the mind too. And I don't want to do that. But I pushed her, and she goes, can I call you then? And now I'm in my life coaching mode, and I gave her like just some task to do. And I says, I'm going to hold you accountable to go walking or just simply go to the senior center. And then she calls me back like 5 days later. She goes, hey, Ron, I took my husband and we went to the senior center, and we like it. We like it. We're out of the house, and we're talking to people, and it's just like we're going to school again, but we got gray hair, and people are balding, and they're fat and weak, right? And they got walkers and stuff. And I says, okay, Auntie, good. So that was it. But she'd call me sometimes just to talk. And this is, she's a senior woman. This is what she talks about. Yeah, the people that's renting from us, they don't pay their rent. Apparently, they have a house here, and they rent it out like they formed another room, another unit. And she was like, yeah, I told these guys don't bring their motorcycles over here, and they do. It's all dirty, and they're like, oh no, it's overnight, and they're here for like a whole week. I don't like being a landlord. And she's just venting. Y'all don't need advice. I'm just venting. So people vent, from all ages, right? And I only do adults 18 and over, but this is for the females out there. So you, as a woman, young woman, middle-aged woman, whatever, if you got a vent, just, call me. I'm affordable. You can just say, Ron, can we talk? I don't have Zoom. I don't have FaceTime, but can we just talk on the phone? Sure, we can. Sure, we can. And I accept payments through Venmo and Cash App and PayPal, and good to go. Hour sessions, affordable. One of my friends who is a retired woman, and she goes, Ron, I like this setup because if I was to talk to you, I would probably meet you at like IHOP or Starbucks. That's like the prime places, or Wendy's, and she'd buy me a meal and we'd talk. But then people could hear her, and some of the things, when people talk about stuff, you don't want Jimmy and Amy on the next table listening to what you're talking about or what we're talking about. So doing a phone call or a Zoom, a streaming thing, offers you a chance to really let loose and let go what's on your mind. And especially women, I feel that women like to confess a lot of things. And like I said, I heard it all almost from all the sexual desires. One woman was in her 50s and her sex life wasn't exciting with her husband, and she started having extramarital affairs. And I says, well, I don't judge you. I'm not gonna go tell your husband. I don't even know your husband, but I don't record these things so that someone can get into it and then find, hey, what's Ron talking about with these women, or these people. Not recorded at all. We just go on a respectable, I'm a listener, you're the talker, I'm listening. But yeah, all kinds of issues, financial issues, depression, in a way that I can listen to the women, but I can't give advice. And I always, whenever someone's too depressed or they get anxiety or some kind of really like a mental roadblock and they can't function, I cut the sessions off right away. I says, I'm not going to charge you. Even that you were going off for like 20, 30 minutes, I'm going to stop the session. You need to see a professional. I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell this to nobody. It's just between you and I. I'm cutting it off right now, and I can help you find the right therapist, professional mental health therapist, if you will, and or go see your primary care physician. So I know this is a long one. I'm rambling on, but this is for you women out there. In Hawaii, we say the wahine. Wahine. If you need to vent, basically, real simple. If you're a female, you need to vent. You have any type of roadblock. You just gotta vent. You just gotta vent. Yeah, that's it. And it's like, one sister, I call sister, called me up and she goes, "Man, I got a friend that doesn't get her crap together. She always needs money, and I'm broke myself." And I'm going, "So you want me to chime in, or are you just venting?" And sometimes they go, "Ron, what's your opinion? What do you think?" So I'm not going to give you advice on what to do with this fellow friend of yours, but maybe cut her off. I can't do that, man. I love my friend, and she loves me. He says, "Well, then I don't know. What do you think? What do you think can be done?" And then I turn into like a life coach. I start asking her questions. Ghost her. Like take her off of your contact. I can't do that, Ron. So, well, what are you gonna do? And she says, now I'm back to the listeners. I'm just venting. I'm just venting. But after the session, she feels good. I had so many sessions with different people. So venting is really important. And I always try to tell people, like, when people go to prison and they are in solitary confinement, look it up. When people go to prison and they are in solitary confinement, like, solitary, they're in a cell by themselves for a long duration of time, it makes them really, they wig out in the head. So we need to talk. We need to have fellowship. Like I said, my certifications are actually Christian based, but they actually help me being a better human being, having God. I'm not saying you need God. I'm just saying for me being a listener, I'm more compassionate now. Like if you need to vent. I know this is a long 20-minute video, but that's me. I'm Ronson Brown, attentive listener / life coach. More of a listener than life coaching. I think that's more of my forte, is just listening to people vent. My email is right here, ronald.sunbrown01@gmail.com. Okay. And I accept Venmo, and I accept Cash App, and and PayPal. But we will work on that. You call me up and we'll figure it out. It's all affordable. Okay, so this is for the wahine or women, the females out there. God bless you. When I say God bless, I mean it in a good way. If you don't believe in God, don't curse me. Don't crucify me. It's just I mean well. Okay. If anything, best wishes, and I hope that you call me soon because venting is good. And again, I'm not a licensed mental health therapist of any kind, so certain things I cannot do is like give advice. Okay, so all you ladies out there, you guys be safe and have wisdom. That's it.